Let's play with fire just a little bit. Now bear with me. I have ideas in my head that are fresh and really haven't gone through any real critical thinking process. And besides, I'm in an area here that I'm unqualified to even do critical thinking, so I'm bound to get in trouble. So I'll lead off with a little story that illustrates the dilemma that I faced when I was a boy. I had heard that gasoline would float on water, and that if you put mixed gasoline in water and then applied a match, you would have basically fire floating on water. I wanted to test to see if this would happen, so I had my dad out on my dad's workbench, covered with tools and the like. I had a little jar full of water, and I had mixed in some gasoline in there. Let it sit for just a second to let's see what would happen, and then took a match and dropped it on there. Sure enough, I had a little jar full of a flaming jar of water with the flames coming up there. I thought that was pretty cool. Now it was burning a little more intensely than I liked, and I didn't really think. It worried me, and I didn't really stop to think that it would burn itself out. I was concerned that I had basically had a live, uncontrolling fire that I couldn't control right there, and I panicked. So guess what I did? Well, I thought, I had just learned the lesson that the gasoline floats. So discarding that lesson, my brain just wasn't thinking. I decided I'd douse the fire by knocking the glass over, and I thought then it would mix with the water and the gasoline would go out. Excuse me. So I knocked it over, and all the water spilled over with the gasoline, the flaming gasoline on it, and spread across the work top of my dad's shop bench. Spread across this flaming pool of water across the top. Man, I managed to get it out. I don't know exactly how I did that, but that was a close call. That's an example of me not having, working outside my sphere, an area that I shouldn't be in, and getting myself into trouble. And I'm about to do the same thing. I was thinking this morning about position and time and I was thinking about address. I was thinking about how everything in the universe has some address. Whether it be a rock or an entity or a star or even the energy has some address in the universe, some place where it is, some time where it's existing. And then what popped into my head after that was some position along a cycle. It seems that everything has a cycle in some capacity, whether it be a life cycle that you and I have from birth to death, or the cycle that a star entertains from the congealing of the gas into a ball into ignition until it finally dies as a white dwarf or explodes into supernova. Whether it be the cycle of a rock that is sandstone, for example, that is compressed down in the earth under the pressure, and then eventually comes up and weathers and chips off and knocks off, and you have a little stone that will eventually weather away back to sand. There's a cycle there. It could be the cycle of the giants, the cycle of a galaxy. In terms of the Milky Way, it currently is in a cycle of existence where it will eventually it's mixed with past galaxies. So it's mixed with the Andromeda galaxy and continue along its way. Some of these cycles are very long-lived, some of them are very short. Energy, I imagine, has some sort of cycle, although I can't really speculate there. I don't know much about it. So it really seems that if we're talking about where anything is, whether it be an object, a form of life, or even energy, it all seems to have three coordinates. It seems to have a place, a time, and a position along some cycle that it's in. And what caught me after that was the idea that it seems that these cycles are long or short-lived, depending roughly upon size. And this is where I really, really go off on the deep end into the weeds. Very large things seem to have very long cycles, and very small things also seem to have very long cycles. But the things in between seem to exist go the fastest. We're going to give you what I mean. For example, a a star tends to be a very long-lived, unless it's a giant that will burn itself out quickly. But even that's long. But even so, it's not necessarily related to size as much as mass and other things as well. But a galaxy is longer still than a star. A galaxy consists of many stars burning and dying and burning and dying and living their lives out. And so, to a cluster of galaxies, a massive cluster of galaxies, consists of galaxies that will merge and form and cycle within. So you get into the very large, and then even larger still, that are very long-lived. Likewise, down to the very small. When you get down to the molecular levels, there are molecules that can pass compounds that can pass from one organism to another. I could be consumed by a lion, and the proteins within my body would be ingested and reused by the lion in some way. The molecules within may be even longer still, living still. Of course, the atoms, so very long-lived, and then the subatomic particles therein. Who knows? Eternal, maybe, perhaps. And what about energy? And is energy indeed, does it even have a form? It could be a matter and energy thing, and it could be the longest lived of all. I don't know. But the things in between, the things that are of smaller, that are mid-range, seem to come and go, reforming all the time into one thing or another. So it seems that we have this position, time, and place along the continuum of cycles, and these cycles are of various degree and length depending upon the relative size of the entity involved. See, now there's lots and lots of room for deviation from that, for exception from what I've just said. But for the most part, it seems that there is something in there to this concept of an address, of a position, of a place, of any one thing in the universe at any one time. Now, why do I say that I'm like my father on my father's workbench knocking over the fire? I'm not qualified to talk about this stuff. I have no idea about astrophysics or theoretical physics or even I don't even know chemistry very well. I'm not even very well versed in science. But nevertheless, it's a heck of a lot of fun to play with, to grab the building blocks from the mind and just toy with them a little bit and see what can come up with. And I appreciate you sitting with me for just these few minutes to think about it with me as well. I wonder where we can go from here. Maybe into just a quiet place for a while. Yeah. Take care, everybody. Bye bye. See, I'm going a little crazy here. Thinking these thoughts always makes me a little bit mad, and not and not always in the best way. Yeah, who knows? I may join you soon enough, Mom. Bye bye.